right place, and Chris's slightly better looking and more successful counterpart.
Yeah, man.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Chris for about 4 years now, and it is my distinct honor to stand here as his best man. Looking around today, this room is filled with loads of extraordinary people. I mean, we've got doctors, executives, orthopedic residents from New Haven, doctors, you name it. But me being here shows that none of that ever really mattered, because I am the best. To put people at ease, I did have this vetted by my buddy who's in law school, so there's a fair bit of whiteout. I met Chris through a mutual friend, we'll call her, when I first moved to Seattle, and life is strange because you never really know which opportunities open which doors, but music has always been one of those ultimate connectors in my life. I've been playing guitar for over 20 years, and she said, "Oh my God, you have to meet my friend Chris. He's like the next John Mayer." I was like, "Oh my God, it's John Mayer." And as soon as I heard him play that stupid Stevie Ray Vaughan lick for the 1000th time, you know what I'm talking about. I was like, okay, I can teach this kid a thing or two. And within 5 minutes, I realized that I was going to be learning a hell of a lot more from him about life than I could dole out in guitar lessons. I mean, let's face it, I was and still am a complete train wreck. But back then, I had a bit more of that youthful arrogance. Okay, so let's see. Stories about what a great guy Chris is. Scottsdale, redacted. Goose at Fiddler's Green, redacted. Bachelor party, 100% redacted.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, of course, but as you can tell, I did have myself a time putting this speech together. Now, if you spent any time with Chris, you know he has a ridiculous work ethic. Repetition builds muscle, right? But he takes it past that. I don't know anyone else who would practice a single song 2,000 plus times, the likes of which you will get to hear later tonight. Stick around. We used to play at this bar in Seattle called Town Pub, and Chris was a terrorist of the performance arts. He'd get on stage, grab the mic out of my hands, and play Time of Your Life by Green Day. And after inevitably butchering the strumming pattern 2 minutes in, he would stop and say, "All right, let's try this again." He would play the song 3 more times, usually followed by a Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. I mean, social anxiety must be petrifying because that takes balls. Needless to say, that bar is now closed. The point here being that success in life to Chris is more of a science than an art to him. It's a mountain he moves every day with sheer force of will and a positive attitude. It's a simple formula that never comes easy, and while I rip on him, I have watched him grow tremendously as a guitar player, surpassing me in things like practicing. We can't control the weather, but we can prepare for it. Anyone in a pinch could probably think of about a dozen people they can call to get out of it. But a friend isn't always necessarily someone you can lean on in hard times. It's someone who you can share the wins in life with, no matter how big or small. He is a relentless advocate for the people he loves, who will happily go to bat for anyone. For example, when Cheyenne was transitioning into cybersecurity, Chris didn't just help her land the job, but he framed her experience relocating weights and medicine balls at True Fusion Fitness into a strategic management position, leading to a 22.5% reduction in operational. Needless to say, the hiring manager was sold. To many of us here today, your successes in life are analog to his, and that is the truest form of friendship. I can't emphasize enough how much I look up to Chris, not only as a friend, but as a brother. He is extremely successful, hardworking, and you can attribute most of this to his upbringing, his football career at CU, Sco Bus. Sco Bus! Sco Bus! But none of this would be possible without his parents, Julie and Deuce. Let's give them a quick hand, please. Don't get those kinds of kids, shrewd and hardworking, without having amazing parents. Genuinely some of the coolest, most hospitable people I've ever met, as they took me into their home and are like a second set of family. While my parents are typically in bed by 8, you can catch Julie vibing at a goose show. Just make sure to hide your edibles beforehand. And Deuce, he truly has the ultimate dad lore that leads to the kind of people like Chris in this world. He's the ultimate storyteller. Never bring up a Grateful Dead song unless you want to hear about how he saw Jerry do it live in '83. If you've ever had the pleasure of sitting down with him, you know what I mean. Whether it's about taking the Marrakesh Express to Tangier or a funny anecdote about a Cajun he knew back in Slidell, Louisiana, it's clearly where Chris gets his gift of gab. I've learned a lot from Deuce, and I always leave a conversation with him feeling a little smarter and usually wondering if I stumbled onto something a little stranger than fiction. Cheyenne and I first met Chris within 48 hours of each other. Chris has always been a man of tremendous conviction, and while he was bragging about this smoking hot instructor at an overpriced gym called True Fusion Academy, I asked, "Can you get me in for free?" To which he responded, "I'm going to marry that girl without skipping a beat." I'm sure most of you can imagine, picture one of those 80s fitness instructors, pink spandex, scrunchies, always smiling and extremely enthusiastic. I, of course, overestimated my level of endurance and got smoked at every class, a lifeless, blubbering puddle of sweat on the floor. And no matter what, Cheyenne was always willing to lend a helping hand. Now, having been married to my wife, Jenny, for almost 25 years, that's quite an important quality. Someone who's smiling no matter what, and who can recognize the compound returns of showing up, of consistency in marriage, the gym, and in life. Cheyenne has that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed enthusiasm that she brings to every aspect, and that's what I admire her for. Marriage is a lifelong contract, and you need someone who can bring you up, motivate you, and who can distribute some of the weight of the burden you carry in life on your shoulders. And that's exactly what I see in you, Cheyenne. Thank you. It's a long speech, but we're all right. We'll do it live. Marriage at its core is a promise. It's not just a celebration. It's the conscious, deliberate decision to commit to facing the hard stuff together. Chris, I know you're the kind of person who doesn't shy away from those challenges. You give it everything. That's what makes you a great person, is that you're all in. And that's exactly what Cheyenne deserves. It's someone who's committed not just to the easy parts of life, but to sticking it out through the tough ones too. Marriage isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about the commitment to face it, knowing you're in it for the long haul. The vow isn't, I love you as long as everything's perfect. It's, I'm not leaving ever. And that's what makes a partnership last, when both of you are willing to grow, solve problems together, and to meet life's challenges side by side. Amen. We're almost finished, I promise. Our lives are comprised of more than the trips to Tulum, or the Amalfi Coast, or the Olive Garden. There's a lot of Tuesdays in there as well, and you must ask yourself, in the context of marriage, what those days and what those rituals look like. Who picks up the dog poop? Who cleans the toilets? Who keeps the lights on? Things that are all equally important, according to my wife, Jenny. Chris, you've got that foundation, your loyalty, your tenacity, your work ethic. Cheyenne, I'm so glad you found someone who brings that to the table. Together, you two are unstoppable. In closing, I'm better off as a person for having you in my life, Chris. Chris, he's the type of guy who makes you strive to be the best version of yourself without ever asking for anything in return, and that's quite rare. Last page. Chris and Cheyenne, I am the luckiest guy in the world for having you in my life. I love you both so much, and at this point, I'd ask that we raise our glasses for a toast. To a lifetime more of memories, I can't wait to see what the future holds as it's brighter than ever. To the hills!